Hello everyone, welcome back to Odyssey Productions. Today I wanted to hop on here real quickly and talk about the recent Mario 3D All-Stars announcement and that collection and everything. So for those of you not aware, Nintendo announced the 3D All-Stars collection today in a Nintendo 35th anniversary Mario Direct that they just dropped on YouTube and Twitter. And there was a couple of other announcements in there. There was 3D Worlds coming to the Switch with some new features. There's some Mario Battle Royale game. I encourage you to watch the Direct if you haven't already to see those, because I'm not really going to be touching on those. I just mainly want to focus on the remaster collection. But there are some other things that were announced, and those are all pretty cool, but nothing too substantial to talk about. So, we already knew about this 3D collection coming to the Switch since I think about March when it was leaked. At least it was a rumor, right? They said that this collection was coming and that it was going to include these three games, Mario 64, Super Mario Sunshine, and Super Mario Galaxy, and that a Paper Mario game was also coming out. And then when Paper Mario Origami King got announced, it pretty much solidified this was going to happen. We then saw a bunch of products start to release for the 30th anniversary. Like, there's these Puma shoes that leaked yesterday. There's the Lego sets. There's a Monopoly for Mario, a new version of it. So there's a couple things that were like, okay, this is definitely the thing that's happening. And we're just waiting on the announcement. Even the fact that the announcement was going to come out this week got leaked. Which is a whole separate conversation, but unimportant right now. And the biggest thing with these is that as cool as it is to see these games on the Switch, and as positive as an element as it is, because this means that more people will play these games and that they are more readily available, right? So ultimately, ports, I feel like, are a good thing. And that's all great and fine. But when we get down to what Nintendo's actually putting out as a package is when I start to get a little concerned. So Nintendo's making this available this month. It comes out on the 18th of September, which is crazy. I thought it was going to be delayed until like December, maybe even next year. But no, it's coming out before Pikmin 3, which is wild. But the games in it, I have a couple of issues of how they're doing. So Mario 64 they're all HD'd, right? They all got upgraded. I think Mario 64 is in 720p, which makes sense for a Nintendo 64 game. Sunshine's in HD, 1080p, and so is Galaxy, and those two games look marvelous. But I'm taking a bit of issue with these games. Mainly because of the current era we're in and how remasters are being handled. Because let's be honest, remasters and remakes are kind of the move right now. We know that the Resident Evil series has been doing it. Crash Insane trilogy happened. They put Monkey Ball on the Switch. They put the Spyro trilogy on the Switch. SpongeBob got remastered. So it's kind of like the era of that, right? And Nintendo, at least in my opinion, did this in the most minimum way they could, right? They put the least amount of effort they had to put in it to make it a $60 game and make it playable and good. And that's the thing I want to emphasize. This is going to be good. This is going to be worth the $60 because these are three of the best games that have ever existed in all time. So it's not going to be not worth the money. That's not the point here. The point is that Nintendo could have done more. They could have. They chose not to, and that's ultimately fine. But they could have done more, and then there's a couple of other things that I take a serious issue with that I think is problematic. Starting off, let's do what I think is problematic about this release. This will only be available until the end of March. They're doing the same thing with Super Mario 35, which is that Mario Battle Royale. It's going to come out in September, and it'll be completely unable to buy it in March. This is ridiculous to me and absolutely anti-consumer, because the only thing that's going to happen is that scalpers are going to pre-order this game out the wazoo. They're going to go to all the stores and grab all the copies, and it's going to become very scarce and very hard to find. And then once the game's not on sale anymore in March, you won't be able to find it, and therefore it's going to be up on like a couple $100s on eBay for the next, I don't even know how long. And it's problematic. We know that the same thing happened with the Mario All-Stars re-release they did on the Wii. Except people bullied Nintendo into getting it another reprint and then it was fine. And they'll probably wind up having to do the exact same situation, because apparently Nintendo doesn't like to learn from their mistakes. But on top of that, why are they doing it like that? That's weird. Put that in the back of your head. We'll put a pin in it. We're going to come back to it. But that's a little weird. But let's talk about the quality of these re-releases themselves. These are straight up just moved over to the Switch, right? Mario Sunshine's being run in emulation. Mario 64 is a straight up port. But they're just being moved over. I'm going to argue that that's not enough. That these games deserved more. None of these games have been re-released ever. Mario 64 did get a DS version, although it's a little different. There's some added stuff that we're not getting in this, by the way. And Mario Galaxy was available on the eShop on the Wii U, but they've never been physically re-released, which is kind of a bummer because these games are fan favorites. Like I've pointed out, games like the Crash Bandicoot trilogy got full from the ground up remakes. They've completely redone them. They're very similar to their old styles, but they're updated. They look great. They play great. And it's wonderful. Mario 64 is just Mario 64. You could literally run a better version of Mario 64 on that PC version that was running around that Nintendo pulled down. That does more than the official Nintendo product. And I take issue with that. It's the same thing for Mario Sunshine. We saw what Nintendo can do with GameCube ports on the Wii U. Look at The Legend of Zelda Wind Waker HD. Or Twilight Princess HD. Those got texture fixes, they got updated, they fixed some of the more annoying things in there, and while we don't know the full extent of what's happening with Super Mario Sunshine yet, they didn't emphasize that, so that makes me think that it's not happening. Maybe it will, hopefully it will, but right now I don't have anything to go off of that. So the blue coins that everyone complains about for Mario Sunshine, we have no idea if that's going to be fixed. We have no idea if some of these more annoying gameplay things in Sunshine are going to be tweaked to make it more playable and just give us some quality of life treatment stuff. We have no idea if that's going to happen. It'll be in HD, and that's great, but this is getting less polish than the Zelda games got. And those were just regular releases. Those weren't for an anniversary. They were just regular releases. And then Galaxy, which for the most part I think is fine. You could argue that it's a little bit lesser than Xenoblade got, but Xenoblade had a pretty big portion of it cut out. I don't know that there's anything they could really add to Galaxy. I don't think it's necessary. But it's weird that they just left Galaxy 2 on the chopping block. Right? And I would have thought, okay, well, they probably couldn't get it done and they're going to give it as DLC or maybe a free update later. I don't think that's going to happen because of the time window. Why are you going to put out for a DLC for a game that's not going to be on sale in March? And there's a couple months in between there. They could, but why? The game's not going to be on sale for that long. It's not going to matter. This is just a cool little collector's thing, real quick, and then it's over. It's a flash in the pan. And, I hate to be cynical, but the more cynical part of me starts to think, these games, they're not going to put all this work into them to have them available for a few months. That doesn't make business sense. It just doesn't. Are they going to sell a bunch of these? Yeah, because they're using the Disney Vault strategy, which is put something out, guilt trip the consumer, and then take it away. Because then everyone wants to buy it because, it's going to go away. It's limited. It's limited. We got to go. We got to get it. And there's nothing necessarily wrong with doing limited releases for things. It's a little anti-consumer in this case especially, but I don't think there's anything inherently wrong with it, depending on what it is. You put a limited a pin set with Fire Emblem 3 Houses. That was limited. That was a cool little incentive to order something, or a costume pack, cosmetics. But when it's the full game, I don't know. That's scummy. I don't like that. And it also, there's no reason for them to be doing this. Skyward Sword was the Zelda anniversary game. I guarantee to you that Breath of the Wild 2 will be marketed, if it comes out next year, as an anniversary game. Are they going to stop selling those games? No, they're not. In fact, I'm pretty sure Skyward Sword was put on the Wii U, and currently there's rumors that it's going to come to the Switch. So they're not going to do that. It doesn't make any sense, because it doesn't make business sense. So that only leads to me that this collection is what's the exclusive thing, not the games. Now, I don't think we're going to get N64 on NSO this year. I don't think that's going to happen. Obviously, Mario $35 is a big pull for that, which I also think is problematic because it's only going to be available in October. So you have to renew your subscription if you want to play it in the very small amount of time it's going to be available, which I don't like. But I don't think it's going to happen. I think if we get a new system, which we might not even get a new system because of how drip feed they're doing the Super Nintendo releases, but if we do, we'll probably get Game Boy. But then next year, we could get N64, and I guarantee Mario 64 is going to be a part of that. So then suddenly Mario 64 is available again. Doesn't matter that you didn't get the collection. And then you could put out Super Mario Sunshine HD. And hey, we already charged $60 for the other HD ports. I mean, Xenoblade was $60. We could charge $60 for Mario Sunshine HD. Why not? Maybe they add a couple more things that the collection doesn't have. Right? Maybe they give us the bug fixes and whatnot that we wanted and put out the version that probably should be already coming out. And then, well, we never put out Mario Galaxy 2, so why don't we put Mario Galaxy and Mario Galaxy 2 on one cartridge and sell that for $60? So now you've made $120 plus the $20 for NSO, so $140, where you previously only made $60 in that very limited window. So anyone who missed out, they can still get those games. It's not a problem. And the collectors, well, they picked up the one that they got. That's an exclusive that scalpers are going to be, selling for a couple $100s after it's no longer available, and it's going to make collecting the Switch a nightmare. It's scummy. It's weird. And listen, I have no evidence to say that they're going to re-release these games. There's no proof of it. But based on what Nintendo's been doing with ports, and based on the fact that they put these games in development, it makes sense. Now, if it's only a flash-in-the-pan release, and that's the reason why they didn't put as much work into these ports, then alright, that makes sense. But I don't think that's what's happening here. And what I mean by what they've done with the ports before is like Donkey Kong Tropical Freeze or the Wii U ports, which I have no problem personally being $60. I think it's worth it, especially when they give us new content like they did with Pikmin 3 Deluxe, for example. But it's just a little weird sometimes, and it's a little like, oh, okay, that's a little weird considering I could have picked it up at $20. And then they take them off the eShop, which is really weird, but ultimately that's an easy pill to swallow because I can tell myself, yeah, I was a Wii U owner, but most people weren't. So these are brand new games, essentially, and it's not a problem for people to be picking them up who have never played the Wii U. It's not a problem. And listen, I have most of these games on the Wii U, so if I really want to play them that bad, I just don't pick up the new version. I just play the old one. But it's not an issue. I've only picked up Pokken Tournament so far. It's the only one I've gotten. So it's not a problem. But this is a little different. Because you could go pick up the GameCube version. If you have a GameCube, if you want to go get a retro GameCube and you want to go get an N64, you can pick up the N64 version. It's not like it's impossible. But they're kind of landlocked at this, but we're at least, at minimum, 2 generations away from the games. At minimum. 3 or 4 if you go further. So there's going to be a reason why people are going to want to get this. And of course people are going to want to get this. I put off playing Mario 64 and Mario Sunshine this year because I'm like, well, the new ones are coming out. Why am I going to play them on my old stinky Nintendo 64? Forget that. I'm going to play them on the Switch. It's better. Because it is, right? Quite frankly, it's convenient. It's more practical. They're going to look nicer. So why not? But I don't know. There's a part of me that just can't let go of this idea that they're going to try to sell us these games again, and then we're all going to buy them again, because that's what we always do. And it feels a little gross. I personally wish, and this is the nature of leaking stuff and putting out rumors, is that we get to sit on these things for months and think about it. And when I first heard the rumor, I was super excited. I was like, oh my god, can you imagine? We're going to have all the Marios on the Switch. It's going to be great. Even if Mario Galaxy 2 doesn't happen, whatever, it's just one game. It'll be so cool. And then we got rumors that the Zelda thing's going to happen. I'm like, oh, could you imagine having all the 3D Marios and all the 3D Zeldas on the Switch? That's insane, which it is. I don't want to take away from that. That is crazy. That's so good. But I sat on this and I was thinking, Miyamoto has talked at length about how much cut content there is for Super Mario 64. The original game was supposed to have way more levels that they had to remove, and I'm sure they implemented some of that stuff in Mario 64 DS, which is also weird that we're not getting any of the content from Mario 64 DS as of right now. We're not getting co-op, which was the thing that they found in that leak, right? The L is real situation that was all over Twitter. We're not getting co-op. We're not getting Luigi. So all these things that they could have added, they decided not to. There's a whole sequel to Mario 64 that Miyamoto wanted to make that wasn't made. And I'm sure those ideas have spilled into other games, but you could make more. So if you, personally, what I think they should have done, because, if you're going to present a problem, you should present a solution. So what I think they should have done is remade Mario 64 in Mario Odyssey's engine. And that was the big 35th anniversary game. Completely remade, give us new levels, give us a lot of the cut content, give us Luigi, do that stuff. Put that out for the 35th anniversary on September 18th instead of the collection. It would have been crazy. It would have sold gangbusters because everybody loves Mario 64. And look at this. It's a brand new shiny version. Then you give Super Mario Sunshine the HD remaster that it deserves, just like Twilight Princess got, just like Wind Waker got. You fix the blue coins, you do a little texture work, blah blah blah, put it in HD, make it look beautiful, done. And you could sell these both for $60, and I don't think anybody would complain. Then, Mario Galaxy doesn't really need that much work, so all you need to do is make it HD. Great. You put Mario Galaxy and Mario Galaxy 2 on one cartridge, and sell that. $60. $30 for Mario Galaxy, $30 for Mario Galaxy 2, that's a steal. Not a problem. And, maybe we release these within like a year. So, September 2020 to September 2021, that's the year of Mario. There you go. Bada bing, bada boom. I don't think anybody would have complained about that. You could still do all the Splatfests, you could do the Smash tournaments, you can do all the stuff that you're doing right now throughout the year, make it a big celebration, put out Paper Mario, make that a part of it, maybe put out a new Mario sports game or a Mario Kart. It would have been great. But that's not what they decided to do. Instead, they decided to do this, and again, I'm happy this is happening. It's just that with everything in this direct and everything in this announcement, there was a caveat. So you kind of get hyped, and then you immediately go, well, I don't know. And it just leaves you kind of, the word I've been using is whelmed. Instead of overwhelmed or underwhelmed, you're just whelmed. You're just left like, okay, good, not great, not amazing, not bad, not terrible, just good. It's alright. I don't know, and I kind of wish, I kind of wanted more hype from a 35th anniversary Mario re-release, and I feel like maybe if we had gotten to E3 and the pandemic hadn't happened, and in an alternate universe where everything went fine in 2020, it would have happened, and it would have been big, and it would have been amazing, and Nintendo's plans would have worked a little bit better, and maybe it would have changed our perspective. Maybe if we hadn't gotten the rumor and the initial hype of this hadn't been wasted back in March, and we had just been hit with it now, and we're like, what? This is crazy. Maybe that would have changed things. Maybe having this in relation to other announcements, and maybe like a new Breath of the Wild trailer and a bunch of other stuff would have just made it like crazy and hype and wow. But that's not the situation we're living in, so I can't base it off what Nintendo's plans were. I can only base it off what they're doing. And listen, I'll be the first to give Nintendo some leeway here. We're in the middle of a global pandemic. Things are hard right now for these companies. It's hard to have remote work happening for your developers. I understand that apparently they had to delay Pikmin, and they're seemingly going to have to, they had to delay Mario 3D World. That was rumored that it was supposed to come out this year, and it got moved to January. And I understand that, and I'm not mad about them moving these games. I think it's perfectly understandable. I think it's understandable that we're having a slower year. I think it's understandable that we haven't had a General Direct since last year. I think these things are fair. The world is in a hard place right now. And I also don't want to come off as like, oh god, this is so bad that the Mario games aren't exactly the way I wanted them. No, this is small potatoes. The world's going through a lot of issues, and this doesn't matter in the grand scheme of things. But I'm also not a news channel. I'm a Nintendo channel. I talk about Nintendo stuff. So, it's not really my place to be, Yes, everything in perspective. This is not the end of the world. This is actually good news, and it's positive, and I'm happy about it. But then there would be no video, so I have to talk about, the other parts of it, and that's what it is. And I don't want to take away from this. I don't want to be like, oh no, this is bad, and this is evil, and don't buy it. No, that's stupid. Get the game. Actually, if you want it, pre-order it, because it's going to be hard to get. So definitely pre-order it. But, we have to look at the future, especially since it's rumored that there's going to be a Zelda version of this. in some capacity, because Zelda's 35th anniversary is next year, and we know that they're doing something because they're giving all the same trademarks for Zelda as they did Mario. So something has to be happening. I don't know what it's going to be. Maybe it'll just be Breath of the Wild 2, and that's their big anniversary game, and that's it. It could be. They did that with Skyward Sword. But Skyward Sword's always so rumored to come out, so that'll be a part of it. And what's going to happen then? Are we going to get the Zelda 3D collection with, I don't know, Wind Waker HD and Twilight Princess HD and Ocarina of Time? Because I'd buy that, but I'd be a little disappointed, especially considering all those games have already gotten remakes. And don't get me wrong, I want that. I want these games on the Switch. I wish they put everything on the Switch. But Nintendo's mixing in this drip feed effect to like slowing down releases. Like, look how little we've gotten on Nintendo Switch Online for the Super Nintendo. We have almost nothing. So they're drip feeding us releases. They're not giving us their classic library. They got rid of the eShop. So all of these games, which could have been on the eShop and have previously been on the eShop, except for Sunshine, are now in this collection. So it feels like they're gatekeeping their old stuff and releasing it in small little chunks for us. And we want the games. So you keep rebuying them. You buy them in collections. You do this, you do that. And it just doesn't feel right. So I figured I'd talk about that. Say a couple things. That's all. But at the end, I'm going to buy the thing because it looks cool and I want it. So maybe I'm part of the problem. And with that, guys, I'll leave you with that to think about. Let me know. Am I crazy? Is there some merit to this? What do you think they should have released it as? Do you think my idea of doing a full remake and then a couple remasters separately is better than what we got? Do you think this is the best option? Are you saying that, Victor, stop complaining? At least we got something. That's a fair take too. Until next time, please remember to stay socially distant, wear a mask, and care for each other in these difficult times. You know, there's a lot going on, and we have the power to help our neighbors. So just think about that.